Hello and thanks for joining David and I in this month's educational video. As RSP is approaching, we thought we'd go over the benefits of and advantages that an RSP has for you. Just remember that the RSP, if you want to take advantage of the tax deduction for the 2020 year, it has to be done before March 1st.
There are three main tax advantages to investing inside of an RRSP. The first is that whatever amount you contribute to your RRSP, you get to deduct from your gross income. This gives you tax relief in the year in which you contribute. For some, an RRSP contribution can result in a big tax refund. The second key advantage is tax-sheltered earnings. Any money you make on your investments inside your RRSP is not taxed until you withdraw from the account. If you start investing early, this can result in many decades of tax-deferred compound growth. The third key advantage is tax bracket differential. You do eventually pay tax on your RSP savings when you withdraw from the plan. However, most people only withdraw from their RSPs once they are retired, and most retirees will be in a lower tax bracket in retirement than when they were working, resulting in a tax bracket differential benefit. This is especially true for couples that can split RSP withdrawals with a spouse once over the age of 65. Particularly when one spouse earned a comparatively higher income during their career.
You can open an RSP at any age, so long as you've earned an income and you file a tax return. You create RSP room based on 18% of your earned eligible income. The maximum RSP room you can create for 1 year is $27,830 as of 2/21. Generally, RSPs are an attractive investment strategy for people earning $42,000 a year or more. If earning less, a TFSA is usually a better option. You must roll your RSP into a registered retirement income fund when you turn 71. And beginning in your 72nd year, you must draw a minimum level of income from your RRSP as prescribed by the CRA. As the name would indicate, Registered Retirement Savings Plan is primarily a retirement savings account. However, many people do not know that if you are a first-time home buyer, you can withdraw up to $35,000 from your RSP to help finance your down payment. This can help some people buy their first house faster than by saving within other accounts like a TFSA or a regular bank account.
Now we are going to look at some examples of how the RSP is a useful account in which to accumulate retirement savings. Laura is 35 and she earns an income of $150,000 a year. She wants to begin saving $6,000 a year for the next 30 years to help accumulate funds for her retirement when she turns 65. She is invested in a portfolio designed to grow at 6% on average. At $150,000 a year income, Laura is in a 40.7% marginal tax bracket on every dollar she earned over $116,344. If Laura contributes $6,000 per year to an RSP, she is not taxed on $6,000 of her income. $6,000 a year invested in an RSP growing at 6% on average will grow to be worth $488,594 when Laura retires at 65. If Laura chooses not to utilize the RSP and goes with a tax-free savings account instead, she has to pay tax on the $6,000 she wants to save. At a 40.7% marginal tax bracket, she is left with only $3,558 to save after paying her income tax. $3,558 a year invested in a TFSA growing at 6% on average will grow to be worth $289,736 when Laura retires at 65. So as far as accumulation purposes go, the RRSP is a much better strategy for Laura than the TFSA. But eventually we all have to pay taxes on our RSPs when we make withdrawals in retirement, whereas with the tax-free savings account, you don't pay any taxes on withdrawals. So it is important to consider the impact of taxes between the two accounts in retirement as well.
Let us look at examples how Laura's financial position come retirement will impact the overall utility of the RSP strategy. First, let's assume that Laura is earning the same $150,000 income in retirement. It is rare that a retiree would be earning the same income in retirement as they were during their working career, but sometimes this does happen. If Laura must pay the same 40.7% tax rate on her RSP withdrawals in retirement, there is no net benefit to the RSP over the TFSA. $488,594 minus 40.7% equals $289,736. However, if Laura earns less in retirement than she did when she was working and making RSP contributions, the RSP is a better savings vehicle than the TFSA. Let us say that Laura is earning only $82,000 a year in retirement and therefore finds herself in a 28.2% tax bracket. Then there is a significant net benefit to the RSP over the TFSA. $488,594 minus 28.2% equals $350,810, a net benefit of $61,074.
Besides retirement, some people also use their RSP to help fund the down payment on their first house. First-time homebuyers can withdraw up to $35,000 from their RSP to help them buy their first house. The amount withdrawn from the RSP must be repaid back over 15 years, which essentially makes it a tax-free loan to yourself. Why would you do this? Let's look at an example. Chelsea wants to buy her first house. She'd like to buy a condo for $375,000, and she needs to have at least $40,000 down payment based on how much mortgage she's been approved for. Chelsea earns $60,000 a year and can save $400 a month for her down payment fund. She wants to know the best place to save for this goal. For purposes of this example, we'll assume Chelsea is invested in a balanced portfolio that returns 6%. If Chelsea saves $400 a month in her TFSA, it will take her 6 years and 9 months to save $40,000.
By comparison, if Chelsea saves $400 a month to her RSP and saves the $1,354 a year tax refund that her RSP generates for her, she will accumulate $35,000 in her RSP in 4 years and 6 months. Once she has $35,000 in her RSP, which is the maximum that you can withdraw from the RSP First-Time Home Buyers Program, Chelsea begins saving in a TFSA and reaches her goal of $40,000 in a savings in only 5 years and 7 months. By saving to an RSP and diligently saving the tax refund that the RSP creates for her, Chelsea can reach her $40,000 goal 1 year and 2 months faster than if she just saved inside a TFSA.
So now let's review when it makes sense to make an RSP contribution and when it might not make sense to make one. If you earn a higher income than your spouse, you should make the RSP contributions and your spouse should not. If you had a higher than normal income year, perhaps you had a big commission or bonus from work, or maybe you sold an investment property and have a capital gain, an RSP contribution tends to be particularly attractive in higher than average income years. Maybe you're facing old age security clawback, an RSP or spousal RSP contribution can help reduce or eliminate that clawback. If you plan to retire prior to age 65, consider using a spousal RSP contribution to plan for income splitting purposes with your spouse. Or it also makes sense to save to an RSP if you happen to be saving for your first home. When it might not make sense to make an RSP contribution is if your spouse earns a higher income, then you shouldn't be making RSP contributions. Unless you have a matching plan through work, always makes sense to take advantage of those matching plans. If your income was lower than normal, consider a TFSA instead of RSP. If you earn less than $42,000 a year, RSP probably doesn't make sense for you and a TFSA is likely better. Or if you're starting your career and your earnings potential is going to be much higher in the future, you may want to start with the TFSA and then consider the RSP later on. Thanks for checking out this month's video. We hope that you learned something new about the RSP, and we know that there's lots of information to take in there. But if you have any questions about whether the RSP makes sense for you, feel free to reach out to Harry and I.
Thanks, and hope you and your family all stay safe.